Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 2 of Birds vs. Boys. Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 1-0, and the Dallas Cowboys sitting at 0-1. The Cowboys at home against the New York Giants this Sunday, and the Philadelphia Eagles travel to the runners-up from last year, the 0-1 Chiefs in Kansas City after losing to the Chargers in São Paulo, Brazil last week. We are here. There's a lot to talk about. There's Eagles news, there's Cowboys news, but I want to start, Aiden, with the funniest thing from last night, which was the Packers game where they beat the Commanders. And
Yes.
then sitting on the set of the NFL Network after the game was one Micah Parsons and the entire Green Bay Packer stadium chanting, "Thank you, Jerry."
Always a good sign for you when opposing fan bases love your GM or your owner. There's always that adage where when a former team is like, "Damn, I can't believe you got that guy." You're like, "Okay, that means we had a good pickup." And when the other fan base is like, "Have at it. Good luck with him." That means it's a bad pickup. This would be a classic case of that, where they are so appreciative of the pickup that they are now cheering in support of your owner.
I don't
Can't
know
be
by the end
good.
of this year, and it's Dallas, but like once this season's over, I wonder what's going to be the more prolific chant from this last sports year. Will it be "Fire Nico" or will it be "Thank you, Jerry"?
What a year in
It's
Dallas.
unbelievable.
They're
I know.
going to do a documentary on this in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, maybe.
And Jerry Jones can't wait. All right. And speaking of the Packers, Aiden, real quick before we jump in, I think they're real. That
Oh yeah.
defensive line is ferocious.
Yeah. If we want to, I'll do a quick recap of Thursday Night Football. Or I'm just gonna whisper in the trust tree for all the Eagles fans listening. I would not want to go to Lambeau in January and play that defensive line. That would suck.
No, thank you.
That is my recap of Thursday Night Football. Doesn't it feel like this is just a total vibes thing? They're obviously a very talented team. It's something special about the history of Lambeau this year. They're 2-0. Both games have just been remarkable atmospheres. Like, it just feels like the Packers moment. That worries me.
And it seems that the addition of Micah Parsons has just injected energy and ferociousness into Rashawn Gary, into Lucas Van Ness, into Edgerrin Cooper. Like they are just, that's what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. You could just tell. It's just the crowd energy on third and longs when he checks into the game is just totally different. To like tie it Philadelphia wise, it's watching Duran come in the ninth inning and the light shows are going on, and you're like, the 99% chance this is over. Like he is going to just close it out, and it just raises up the level of energy of everybody around him. Where the baseball team knows if you can just get to the ninth inning, 99% chance you're going to win. It feels like that every third down right now for the Packers is like, if we get them to 3rd and 8 plus, it's over.
Yep. Yeah, and it's a scary thing. And I saw the stat. I think it was during the broadcast last night. They said when Bart Starr won his first Super Bowl for the Packers, he was 27 years old. When Brett Favre won his first Super Bowl and only, he was 27. When Aaron Rodgers won his Super Bowl at the Packers, he was 27. Jordan Love turns 27 next month.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, I said this when the trade happened. No quarterback has more pressure on them right now than Jordan Love. And so far through 2 weeks, he's 2 for 2.
Yep.
I cannot say anything negative about him. I think the way he's run that offense, the way they've dispersed the football, he's been awesome. Tucker Kraft has been awesome.
Yep.
So Josh Jacobs, if you're a betting man, you just bet him to have a rushing touchdown every week. He's done it
Literally.
10 straight weeks.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
And on the other side, our division rival with Washington, obviously, it looks like they have lost Austin Eckler for the year to a torn Achilles, which stinks. And they didn't have an answer last night.
No.
Daniels didn't have an answer. The play caller didn't have an answer. They could not get into a rhythm.
It's way too early for victory laps, but I just want Commanders fans on TikTok to know that I am stretching. I am doing dynamic stretching to start running my lap. Just be prepared. The Eckler thing sucked because I saw it happen behind the play and I couldn't figure out what happened. Immediate replay, one of those where you knew exactly what happened. Them before that though, them not maybe this is just a fantasy thing, but them not committing to Jacory Grosky Merritt, who's just clearly faster and has more
Yep.
burst than anybody else on the running back roster, and them just not giving him the ball after going for 8 yards a clip last week was just confusing to watch. But hey,
Yep.
that's a Commander's problem.
Thank you, Commanders.
Thank you, Commanders. I have so many takes, by the way. We're back 1 week, and I feel like I have so many football like team takes. I've watched one game of everybody, and I have a great one for some of our teams that we're playing. It just feels good to be back. I feel electrified right now. Every team I have an opinion on. I've seen them play 60 minutes of football.
It does.
Max.
And this is what we do. Even now, it's it's Friday. I'm already like, ooh, we had football last night. There's probably a crappy college game on tonight. I got college game day tomorrow morning, Notre Dame tomorrow night, and then we got it's just like we're
You
back.
get game of the week at noon.
Yep.
Everybody always says nobody comes into Lincoln Financial Field in September against the Casey Keeler run Temple Owls and walks
True.
away with the dub. Shock the
Very
world,
true.
Temple.
We were supposed to be at that game, and then I don't know, something fell through, and I didn't even realize. And then
I'm going to the Penn State game. I'm a traitor.
look at you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Huh. All right, let's jump into our games because we are a little tight on time for this show today. Oh, and I will say I was at a meeting in Chicago all week, and 3 people, it was the leadership meeting. 3 people came up to me asking about this said podcast. 2 have
Really?
which are subscribed and watch, and one of which is heard you have a podcast. And I was like, uh-huh. So
It's making
it
its
is
ways.
making its way everywhere.
I don't know if you saw it, but we did have a viral TikTok regarding the spitting
Oh no, I missed
incident.
that.
Yeah, and I got a few like screenshots of text being like, "I saw your boy Aiden, like he was on my feed." So it was a big week for the podcast. Apparently,
All right, let's go.
that's awesome.
Hello. All right. Who wants to go first?
Let's start Giants Cowboys. I think I
Sure.
have obviously a lot of Eagles takes, but
Yeah, yeah.
this game itself, I think we're going to be in agreement on this game.
Okay. This is a game that the Cowboys need to win if they want this season to be anything. If you go out and you lose to the Giants, if you look bad against the Giants after looking much better than people expected you to look week 1 in
Mhm.
Philadelphia, if you go out and lay an egg in your home opener against Russell Wilson, Brian Dable, and Cordell Flat, we've got a problem. There are many advantages, I believe, that the Cowboys have across the line in terms of play, but then there's also still some question marks, right?
Yeah.
Deron Bland now in a walking boot could be out multiple weeks. So now it's okay. You had Trayvon Diggs play week 1 and played really well, right? And did you see Aiden? I don't know if you know, they did not play one snap of man.
Oh,
They were in zone every single snap in pass play last
AJ
week.
Brown made that quite clear because they asked
Yes.
him like, "Were you hurt? Was the scheme going against you?" He's like, "I got zoned up the entire game." So hey, great job by the Cowboys though.
Yep. But now is it that next man up mentality, right? Obviously, clearly last week in Philadelphia, the Eagles targeted Kyrie Elam, right? They kind of
Yeah.
stayed away from Trayvon. They stayed away from Deron Bland as much as they could. And their target was Kyrie Elam. And we've talked about Elam a lot this offseason, right? Because he was a former first round pick, traded for by the Dallas Cowboys, looked good in OTAs, looked good in camp, looked good in preseason. And I said this last 2 weeks ago before the Eagles game that this is kind of his show, right? He did the same thing in Buffalo. Everyone's like, he always looked good in practice. He always looked good in offseason. The lights come on, the games happen, and like, where'd that go? The game looks a little fast for him. His instincts aren't there. So now, without Deron Bland, Elam has to play a bigger part. And then who do you put in the slot? Is it Childress? Is it the new guy you picked up from the Bears? Like, there are so many question marks now against, I would say, a formidable wide receiving core, obviously, for the Giants with Malik Nabers. However, Russell Wilson is still starting, they say.
I have a big however on the
Okay.
Cowboys. On the Giants, I'm sorry. But first, Kaiir Elam is like the kid in school who just aces all the homework so then takes the test. And I was like, you I know you studied. I graded your homework. You got 10 out of 10s. Your quiz was great. Then you take the final exam. Like, how did you get a 63?
Yeah.
You were here for every day of class.
How did you shit your pants in class?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
every
So what?
every school had those kids like you're good in school. How did you bomb the SAT? I'm like,
I
I
don't
can't take
understand
tests.
it. All you got right was your name.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I did hand up, I did struggle with the cursive. The whole rest of the class was done.
Yes.
It was just me and my friend who went to the same school. And I was looking around like, how'd you guys finish the cursive so quick?
I don't think I try and write cursive sometimes just for fun. I'm like, I don't even think that's right at all.
Yeah, I feel like beyond my signature, which is cursive, I don't know if I could write paragraphs of it at
No,
this point.
no.
Lost
It
art.
hurts your hand too.
Hurts. Yeah, true.
I
Now,
write my
now we type
daughters.
it all.
I write my daughters a handwritten letter every year on their birthday, and I put it in an envelope, and I'm going to give it to them like when they turn 18. But
Mm-hmm.
writing hurts my hand.
It
Like,
does.
I'm like halfway through, I'm like, ow, because we
I
just
was
don't
writing
use that
something
muscle as
recently.
much.
I was doing the same thing. I was writing recently, like my wrist hurts now.
Mm-hmm. It's
Crazy.
crazy. All right,
Lost
give me
art.
your take then.
I know. I said I had a take. This might be more of a rant, but the Giants are disgusting on offense. I was so excited for football to be back last week. And then we had perfect setup, TV on, projector on, got 2 games. They were our local game here, Giants Commanders. That was one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen. And it'd be one thing if you were a new coach trying to figure it out, or you were playing your rookie quarterback and it's his first game. And
Yep.
I know they were down a tackle. That was abysmal. They were so predictable on offense that on the couch you could choose run pass. You knew exactly what was coming. Their offensive line looked like one of those natural disaster movies when the town gets overrun by like a tsunami, where it's like, oh, we've done another movie with The Rock, and guess what? LA, you got hit by another tsunami where it took out the skyscrapers. That's what it
Oh
looked like
no.
with their offensive line. They were horrible. It took a quarter and a half for their franchise receiver to be screaming at the coach on the sideline and then just sitting there with a towel over his head because he was infuriated. And then Russell Wilson, after all of that and putting up 6 points, now it's 3 straight years they haven't even put up a touchdown in week 1. They haven't made it to 7. They have not made it to 7, which is the entire goal of sports in week 1. And after the game, Russell Wilson, in perfect coach speak, goes, well, it was a physical game and we left it all out on the field. You left it all out on the field? What was
You didn't
all of
bring
it?
anything out on the field.
You didn't
I think
bring
you forgot it.
anything. It was you. The Dolphins spared you from being the worst performer of the week, and you can even make the case that you were worse. So,
Yep.
if this game weren't on the road in Dallas, I think you could see Jackson Dart by halftime. That's how bad last week was.
That was going to be my next question. Do you think there's a shot of seeing Jackson Dart in this game?
I don't think so because I feel like it's tough to throw a rookie in on the road, especially
Against a
if it's
rival.
because the offense is struggling. And like, I know they're down a tackle, but still, that's not saving them. I feel like you want to get him a week worth of prep time, but I don't know that was so bad. You might just say to yourself, it can't be worse.
Yep. Yeah.
And you don't want to go
What
to
is your
0 and
feeling
2,
on
so
the
you might just get desperate.
what's your feeling on the 5.5 spread?
I would take the Cowboys. I'm in a survivor pool, and I think we don't have to do the spread. It's just pick a winner.
Win. Yeah.
I'm going Cowboys probably.
Yeah. I am feeling good. Like I also, listen, that defensive line is ferocious for the Giants, right? They're going to have their moments in the game, but I also think that after what happened last week for CeeDee Lamb, and
Oh yeah,
the Giants are the team where he got hurt last year with his shoulder. I would not be surprised if he goes for like 189 on 12 catches and 3 touchdowns or something.
I believe it. Or I could see it being like they're hanging in, they're hanging in, they're hanging in. The CeeDee Lamb touchdown is the knockout blow.
Yeah. Like a
Yeah.
48-yard touchdown.
hmm They
Yep.
run play action. He's cutting across the middle, kind of running like a post route, kind of like when they won in overtime against the Patriots.
Yep.
He had the walk off TD, like a touchdown like that. Like you said, 48-yard touchdown. Now they're up 13. Game over.
I could see this. This is the way I think this game goes. They get a little sloppy in the beginning, right? The Cowboys could not have
Mhm.
started the season better in the beginning last year, right? Spitting, ejection, drive down the field, touchdown. Like it was
Yeah.
just, it was perfect. I could see it being a little slower this week just
Yeah.
because they're home. Brian Schottenheimer's first game at AT&T, just all that. But I think halftime, right? It's like a 13-10, 13-9 game. Cowboys are up. It's been sloppy. People are like really that's it. And then you turn around in the fourth quarter and it's 31-10 or 31-13. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I do think that it's going to be one of those games where if you only watch on Red Zone, it's going to be close, and then they're going to pan back to that game, and it's all of a sudden not going to be close at all.
Yep.
And I will say, just from keeping it reasonable, I know I hate the Giants' offense. You mentioned their defensive line; they did play well last week. I thought they
Yep.
gave the Commanders issues. I think it's a great test early on for a young offensive line.
Yes, that it
And
is.
I'll I'll add one more thing as an extension of this defensive line. They're using Abdul Carter and punt block, and he almost got 2 last week. So
It's a
be
scary thought.
careful on special teams.
Yes, that is a very, very scary thought. Um, but I'm expecting really good play calling from Brian Schottenheimer this week. His first half and his second half were drastically different, and I don't know if that was the Eagles playing differently, the weather delay, the drops, or what. But like, it seemed as though his first 15 to 20 plays, and they were probably all pre-scripted all offseason, were great. Actually, I
Mhm.
shouldn't say all offseason because as soon as Jalen Carter got thrown out of the game, they completely changed the game plan, Dak said.
Yeah.
But it seemed as though he was in such a rhythm. The play calling was fun. There was a lot of motion. I want more of that.
Yes.
Inject that into this
Me too.
offense and just keep it going. I think they had motion on like 43% of their play. They were last or one away from last year in motion. If they would have stayed at the rate that they were in week 1, I think they would have been number 3 in motion last year overall. So we are
Oh,
seeing
wow.
different. Um, again, the Cowboys played a much better game than people expected last week. Again, that's not a moral victory, but because they did lose the game, but now it's your time to go out and beat up on a
Yeah.
team that if Dak Prescott beats, it is the longest streak of a quarterback beating one other team in NFL history.
Yeah. Now
The
go
last
win the game.
time
Don't win the game.
the last time the Giants beat the Cowboys, Barack Obama was president.
That's
Beat Dak Prescott, I should say. Beat Dak Prescott.
that
So,
is wild to think about.
yep. So,
That yeah. Yeah, great start for the Giants if they lose 12 straight to Dak Prescott and they haven't
yes.
scored a touchdown in week 1 in 3 years. Two great stats that you want to be starting your season with.
So God bless. Cowboys should win this game something like 31-13 in the end after being a very close game at halftime.
The only thing that could keep the Giants in it, and they did not do a good job last week, is scheming open Malik Nabers.
Yes.
Even when he made catches last week, he had 5 for 71. It was a lot of him just making a play over the defender. His long chunk play, which was like a 25-yard gain, it was a moon ball from Russell Wilson into double coverage. It's just that Nabers went up and got it. Like there was safety help over the top. He just he high pointed the football and came down with it. It was just a
And
talent.
that's going to be very interesting to see how Eberflus adjusts to this
Mhm.
without Deron Bland, and are they just going to zone it all up again every play?
They might.
That yeah. wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I don't think.
They could sit crisscross applesauce and not play any defense, and I'm not sure that the Giants could get down the field and score a touchdown.
Yep.
It was that
All right.
bad.
So Deron Bland probably will not play. Let's shift to the Giants, and I know you had some injury questions too. I think Dallas Goedert missed 2 straight practices. It's a big week.
Big week, game of the week here. Super Bowl rematch, 4:30 CBS. I know they're bringing the whole crew out to the game. Should be awesome in terms of atmosphere. You're right. Injury concerns. I do not expect Dallas Goedert to play. He has not practiced this week. Landon Dickerson was full practice participant, so we're good there. So I think you're down Will Shipley, and you're going to be down Goedert. Now, think about pros and cons of missing Goedert. One, pro, AJ and DeVonta. Stars got to be stars. You have a good foundation to fall back on. You also really trust Grant Calcaterra, the backup tight end, in the receiving game, not so much in the running game. And if you remember, and I remember, think back to the Super Bowl, a Super Bowl they were up 34-0 and 40-6. But before, we absolutely obliterated them. They did a good job of stacking the box like we thought and stopping Saquon. So all run blocking is welcome.
Yes. If it was very interesting that Saquon did not kill the Cowboys last week in terms of rushing. They actually did a good job of not stacking the box too. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they are against the Chiefs this week. And I think, listen, Mahomes did not look good last week.
No.
I think you could run out there and help them out on the offense right now. Yeah. So what they really need to do, I think, is punish him even more. And what that means is keep him on the sideline and run the ball, control the clock.
For sure. If my take on the Chiefs was, if you took that Chiefs logo off their helmet and just had a football fan judge that team logoless and then ask them to predict this game, you'd say, yeah, the Eagles will beat this logoless team.
Yep.
They are struggling to run the football. Pacheco is now splitting with Kareem Hunt. They can't establish a run game. Opposite wise, they really struggled in coverage.
Yep.
And we talk about this with the Eagles nonstop. I love bringing it up, these 6 to 7 minute drives. The Chargers did that to them all second half.
Yes.
They couldn't get off the field on third down. They were able to balance the run and pass, but they had enough protection that Justin Herbert was able to get the ball downfield to like Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey. Like they schemed open their receivers, as the Eagles should with A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. The Chiefs were arguing in the huddle towards the end. You look at the logo and you look at Mahomes, but aside from that, there is nothing about this team that should really scare you. The atmosphere, maybe. Tough place to play.
That game is a game the Chargers always lose. They charger that game, and they did not because the Chiefs didn't let them charger it.
Exactly. Exactly. You were waiting for the Charger moment, and they just kept marching down the field. They never even gave the ball back at the end. They had that play action boot, really, to Justin Herbert, who took off on 3rd and 14, and that game over. Game sealed it. Even when the Chiefs scored and finally got their offense going to the second half, Chargers went right back down the field. It was a 6.5 minute drive, touchdown to Quentin Johnson.
And that's what this Eagles team in the past has been so good at, right? Is like, okay, one, answering when they have to, and then having those big FU drives, as you call them, going on a 6-7 minute drive. We're just going to plow it down your face. We're going to run it with Saquon. Hurts is going to pick up a first down or two with his legs. And then here comes DeVonta, not Dallas Goedert, and A.J. Brown in the red zone.
Exactly. And I do think AJ-wise, this will be similar to the Steelers game a year ago, where after the Panthers game, they asked him, what's wrong with the offense? And he was like, passing, which he wasn't wrong. But then they started passing the ball. I think we're forgetting in the A.J. Brown thing, they scored on their first 4 possessions, Literally. So it wasn't like the offense was broken in any way. I am all about taking what comes to you. Do that again this week. I think if you get the ball to AJ early, it's going to set you up for some other things. So, and then defensively, first game for Jalen Carter. And again, they can't run the ball. We'll see if Worthy plays. By the way, I thought he
That
was
was my
out.
next
Like,
question.
I thought he was just out. Like, in my life, if you dislocate your shoulder, you're not back the next week. Although I will say this, in our Powder Puff football game senior year, the quarterback of our team, she popped her shoulder out, popped it back in, and kept playing in our Powder Puff flag football game. So I think about that all the time. How crazy that was.
She's tougher than
Tough.
most.
She did. She was like a D1 field hockey player at Ohio State, so she was built different.
Let's see here. 17 hours ago, Xavier Worthy he did not practice Wednesday. He had limited practice on Thursday.
And he was out there, and he has a sleeve on, and he looks like Will Smith in iRobot when he had like the bionic arm under his real arm. So I just assumed he wasn't playing, but maybe there's a chance. If he doesn't play, this obviously helps the fact that we don't have a corner opposite of Quignon.
Yep.
And it helps where it's just like, yeah, if they win, Mahomes has to be ultra mega premium VIP Mahomes, where it's just like he has to create enough magic where there's just not a lot of skill position around him, and you can overwhelm them up front.
And I feel like even if he plays, and he's clearly not going to be 100%, but even if he's a decoy, just using his speed down the field, that hurts. Like, you have to at least respect the speed.
Yeah. How's he going to catch the ball? He can't. If you dislocate your shoulder Friday and play Sunday, how do you can't get your arm above your head?
And you could say, well, get it to him on a quick bubble screen and use his speed, but it's like, okay, but that's where you're going to get popped too.
Mm-hmm.
You really want him to get hit running through. Yeah, I don't know.
So,
is it worth putting him out there for the longevity of the season? That's the question.
Yeah, that to me, I didn't think there was any chance, but I guess now there might be. But you look at it, he doesn't play. You're dealing with a skill backfield of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, and year 14 Travis Kelce. Like, it is a who's who of washed. This should be a game. Again, you take the logo off. You should be able to handle this. And I'm excited for the Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis combo up front. If we can, cause some havoc up the middle, you got skill position players that are struggling to get open. Let's cause some chaos in Mahomes' face.
Now that Jalen Carter's back, I think he's going to be even more motivated after last week to.
I think he will be. I hope his head's in a good space, because I think it's one of those things. I think him as a person, having obviously never met him, I think he could go the opposite way and be like, "Fuck this! Everyone's mad at me. Like, I'm not going to try." Not that he wouldn't try, just be like, everyone like kind of throw his hands up, like everyone's just mad at me. Like, fine. But I hope he knows lesson learned. I think we're all past it. You didn't get to play in a big game. That was your punishment enough. Get it back for the guys. Like you said, get it back for the guys. Perfect moment.
I think there's enough pros. Like, obviously you guys lost a lot, and Brandon Graham not being there, Jason Kelce, but I think there's still a lot of pros there, right? And they've been there. They've been in big games. They won the Super Bowl last year. I'm sure Jalen Hurts has put his arms around him. A.J. Brown. I would not be surprised if he did not get a call from Brandon Graham or a visit from Brandon Graham.
I think BG, he might have actually said that, and because Brandon Graham has a new podcast, and I think he did say that. Where we buried one of the leads. There is a new veteran in town on that defensive line that would be next to him in his ear, and Zadarius Smith. I'm excited to see what he has to offer. Kind of slides into that BG role from a year ago. We think of Brandon Graham as like future Eagles Ring of Honor. Last year, he was on limited snaps, but he was so effective in that role. If Zadarius Smith is that, I now feel fine with the 4 edge rushers that you have. What's that?
Zadarius Smith had 9 sacks last year.
That's technically more productive than Brandon Graham was, albeit he did tear his tricep. I remember that. I'm being like, wow, he's actually super effective.
Yep.
If he's like that in this role, you now feel good, because Uche was great. Uche was your best edge rusher last week. And then you have the other two guys in Hunt and Smith. Now you feel solidified.
Now talk to me real quick about this, because I think everybody is a little in awe in the way Howie does business. It makes sense. It's almost the way Howie does business sometimes. And he did it twice in the last week in terms of
Mhm.
going to get uh,
Tank
Tank
Bigsby.
Bigsby and Zadarius Smith. He's like the ShamWow guy, where it's like all of a sudden there's a hole in the boat and he's just like, bam. And then he sees
Mhm.
another hole in the boat and he's like, bam. And it's where others are like, well, let's just see how much water we can take on with the boat that we have right now. And then we'll see what happens down the line. Where he's like, no, there's a hole in the boat. Here's Zadarius Smith. I'm going to fill the hole in the boat with
Yeah.
Zadarius Smith. But do you think they had him like conversations with him prior to the seasons like, listen, be ready, we might need you? Or do you think this just happened, like they called him this week, be like, all right, we saw what we had, we're bringing you in?
I think they had conversations before. I think it's one of those situations when you're a veteran, you kind of feel it out as it is. You don't want to go through a full training camp after playing in the league for 10 years. So you say, okay, where can I go where I can contend and, make my mark on a contender? Where would they need me on a contender? So it's a perfect fit for him. So I'm sure they had conversations, and I'm sure Zadarius Smith kind of pinpointed this. The Tank Bigsby one, Howie is also like the guy who, just invests in the same stocks as politicians because like they
Yep.
have inside knowledge, and he just like follows their trends. Like he just follows the right trends where one of the takeaways from week one, return of the kickoffs. You need a kickoff specialist these days.
Yep.
And he goes out and gets Tank Bigsby to be your like kickoff returner, who he's been a pretty effective kickoff returner. I was like, I know that Shipley got hurt, but beyond that, a big impact on your special teams now is having a designated kickoff specialist. The
Yep.
Cowboys have a great one in Kevontae Turpin.
Yep.
Howie is just paying attention, reading the trends, and reacting.
Doing his job basically is what you're saying.
He's doing his job.
If we put it lightly,
Shout
so
out to Howie.
yeah,
Congrats.
doing his job.
Best shape of his life.
And it's funny. It's the Cowboys. It seemed tried to do something similar this week in Jadeveon Clowney, and the reports are that the Cowboys wanted him to sign, and he's going to wait, which means he's doing the same thing. He's going to wait till like week 8, 9, 10, see who's needs a pass rusher, and he's going to try and be that hired gun.
He's definitely cutting it close.
But
He is
hey,
he's a hired gun when Nick Foles is around. That's for sure.
literally.
And that was 7 years ago now. That's crazy. Like we're saying some of these names and you're like, oh, it's old. Like it has been 7 years. Jadeveon Clowney
Hmm.
was a Texan.
Time flies, man.
Yeah. That's all
All
I
right,
got. I'm out.
that's all you got.
We only did about 4 teams. I got 28 more takes in the bank, but I can save them for the end of week 2 if need be.
So, are you walking out of Kansas City 2-0 and dropping the Chiefs 0-2?
I'm confident. I really think like go for this. Go for this.
Yep.
People talk going when I saw the schedule, I was like, this feels like a loss. Like going in Arrowhead week 2 redemption game. No, be present and be aggressive. Like play this game like you're clinching a playoff spot. Like be aggressive early. I want to get this win real bad.
And I will say my last note about this game is I feel like the Eagles are going to come out aggressive, and I think they're also going to have a chip on their shoulder because it seemed as though, and could say we don't listen to the media, we don't do this, we don't do that. They all hear the noise.
They know,
It
yeah.
seemed that the media was talking more about the Cowboys playing better than expected in a loss than just talking about the defending Super Bowl champions going out and winning.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I feel like football is cyclical. We just have a good feel, I think, for it at this point. We had a good read on what was going to happen week 1 going into week 2. You watch a clip of being like, keep an eye on the Eagles with AJ Brown trade rumors, and it's like I do this once a month, and after every time he ends up with 100-yard game and a touchdown every time.
Yep.
So knock on wood, I hope that's the case this week. And yeah, I think this should be hopefully a pretty positive reaction show when you and I do it. I think we both look pretty in good situations.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Well, everybody, this was recorded on a Friday. Hopefully it gets dropped. You're listening to it Friday or Saturday morning just because of my travel schedule. The shows will be going back to the regularly scheduled closer to the middle of the week shows, reaction shows. We're going to be doing lots of short TikToks and YouTubes, as well as doing our power rankings each week of the teams as well. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you follow us everywhere we are on social media, Birds vs. Boys Pod, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of the above, and everywhere you listen or watch podcasts, smash the subscribe button. We're so close to 1,000 on YouTube, and I feel like once we hit that, it's just going to explode.
We're getting like one a day, and it's just like we get so close.
I know. Just make it happen. If it's your first time, thank you again for watching. Hit that subscribe button. If you are one of our loyal listeners, thank you. Like, subscribe, and hit the comments below of what you feel like the Cowboys and Eagles will do this week at home and on the road.
Can't wait. Logoless football, boys. Logoless.
Nope. Playing the Chiefs. But are they the Jaguars?
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.